And welcome everyone. Here we are again for another day of awesome Premier. Awesome. It is awesome, but awesome Premier League. My name is Cameron Davis, and joined by Moses, and we're going to bring you all the action from Lobby 1 today in today's amazing best of 4. The teams are in the lobby. The teams are about to be up in the air. And we got some great games ahead of us. Hello, Moses. How are you doing?
I'm doing terrific. Thank you. Looking forward to these games. We haven't seen some of these guys competing in their full effect. Well, at least I haven't yet. I believe everyone's back at home, back from Korea, ready to get back into it. So we'll see FaZe and Vitality performing at full strength today. Yeah. But we got a nice even playing path through the middle of the map.
Yeah, and that's actually a really big thing of note is that we finally have FaZe and Vitality back. I have missed watching them very much. We did see them on GLL yesterday, and they both performed pretty well, if I do remember correctly. But we're going to see what they can do today. And yeah, also, as you said, this playing route, it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. It's up there. You can't really complain too much based around it, and everyone should be getting more or less what they want. Looks like FaZe, though, not flying directly to Milta Power, but that's understandable because that's still a hard flight no matter where it is. Just grabbing a vehicle there at the bottom, and they could have a little bit of contest from a couple other players around this area.
Yeah, it looks like they were landing to try and grab a vehicle. We see Vitality headed towards this boat here, so we'll see if they're going to try and boat over to their home in Milta, see if that continues. But I'll be interested to see exactly. It looks like FaZe is going to actually look like they might be headed north or to go around. They have been landing in Kameshki, but this might just be a route specifically just to get back to Milta. I don't know if that's something that they're going to actively seek to do, something that they were doing in their Korean games, but for now we'll see how the loot phase shakes out.
Yeah, they could just be trying to go around farm area, and yeah, it seems to be more or less the case. Farm, it's tricky, not just because obviously if someone lands directly there, and you know what? Let's just... Okay, well, this is a great circle to start us off on the day. No, I mean, it's good. I actually don't mind this circle too much, just because it doesn't play around. It's not bipolar. It's not a will it, won't it. It's very much this is going to be military base island. So that's good for teams because it means that they don't have to hedge their bets on one or the other. They can just go straight there and have a game plan immediately and have less chance of it being completely messed up by the circles.
Absolutely. Now I'm actually looking at Penta, and I'm not seeing some of the individuals that I have seen in the past. It looks like they have mixed up a little bit some of the players. I don't see Real ZX or anybody like that, so maybe some subs today for Penta. But I'm interested to see now with this military circle, and considering how many of these teams, aside from Rogue, and I believe that I didn't see who was also down there with them, but how they're going to manage crossing. Now, this is something we've seen in the last few days where, it's no one rushes down there to get across on bridges. It's just a matter of, okay, we'll get across when we can. But we can already see Vitality opting not to go to Milta, but to cross and go to the choke point complex there and kind of hang out. So not sure what their early game loot is going to look like, Cam, but how do you think these teams are going to manage? Are they going to come around on boats, jump in through the coast and swim? Because we see these teams that get across early, try and set the pace essentially when it comes to getting other teams onto the island.
So Vitality, I don't think Vitality planned on coming here. I think they were just in the boat when the zone revealed itself and said, hey, we're on your boat, let's just come here initially, which I think was a great plan. With the 1.5x AR spawns, their loot should be okay, and they could decide to stay here. They could send a few other people out and loot other places like the big tall mountain and a couple buildings surrounding that. But the fact that they're already on Military Island, I think is going to change the pace from at least what I expected, and probably other teams as well, because them being in military base, you often seen Vitality be one of the teams that camps the Eastern Bridge, and they're not going to be there to do that. Now, no one's going to know that right off the bat, but the fact that no one's going to be there to camp, but everyone's still going to be, or at least more teams are going to be avoiding that bridge, it could change the pace of the game.
And we actually see already Method crossing. So Method coming down from their home in Pachinki, having completed their loot phase as quickly as possible. Want to transition simply across the bridge, hoping that no bridge camp has been stopped. Udir from Exalt was in the area, but he's just inclined to be looting those compounds. So the loot phase is very early, only 2 minutes in. So Method going to be the first ones coming across, and we'll see how they set themselves up. As Rogue and Exalt have already taken spots that they may look like they're going to head up to the hill here and maybe camp out near the shacks up on top. A very viable position, but maybe still in their scout phase.
Yeah, definitely. It's in the scouting phase in the sense that where they are isn't the best place to fight in. It's rather to get a lot of information. But let's look at Rogue here, though, because Jazza has a nice line onto Exalt trying to take that garage building. Not landing any of his shots, but it's still putting pressure on them. Curious to see where Exalt are going to be bringing their other two players once they arrive back. If they're going to try and all group up in the same compound and kind of do a weird compound v compound shootout, or if they're going to try and take a separate place and do a little bit of a 2-2 split. But Rogue are all grouped up as 4 right now.
Yeah, it looks like Rogue is just maybe determining that this is the compound they're going to spend this first transition in. They've moved into a position where they can watch players entering onto the island, as we see Mr. TV approaching as well. Udyr going down. Looks like Method has set up on top of him. So Method landing a first kill here after securing that hilltop compound / shack area. Great for vision, but not the easiest to defend once everyone gets onto the island. A lot of the times you'll see the southern portion of the island. There's a few compounds down there that are well sought after, but it looks like now it's going to be a bit of a difficult transition as Penta is on the bridge as well. Mr. TV having to back off on the motorcycle.
Yeah, already going to be a little bit of a struggle for him. He's got a bike, though, so he'll be able to zip and zoom around everywhere, so I wouldn't be too worried for him. It's the rest of the team that's actually already on the island. They're missing their 4th, I think.
I haven't seen, the Penta, I haven't seen their 4th just yet, but it looks like Sane was able to grab that crate, so he's got that silenced M4, the ghillie suit, and the Mark 14, and here comes the rest of Penta. So, yeah, looking like they are playing with a few subs today. But Rogue and Method early and active here in the first transition phase. Everyone tries to get onto the military island.
Yeah, it's interesting. Penta, they camped it for a little bit, possibly because they heard the bike arriving and they decided, you know what, we're already on this bridge. Let's see if we can't deal some damage. But they're not sticking onto the camp, which is definitely a good decision, especially when it's a solid military circle like this one. If it's one that can go either way, I wouldn't be surprised to see more squads camping it, sticking with the camp a little longer. But of course, when you know it's going to be a military base, that's kind of the trade-off of camping the bridge. Is like, okay, so we can deal some damage right now, but now we're going to have to be the ones to come in later. And then if people know that we're camping, they're just going to camp us. And so it makes sense that, especially in a circle like this, when you don't want to commit too heavily to it. And you see Penta right now, don't know if they're going to be taking the hill or rather taking that building down to the base of it that you can see in the center of your screen.
It looks like they're going to be going to police station, the building we're looking at right now. That's a decent spot to hold. It's got good walls, good cover all around it, a few buildings they can split between. So it looks like Penta will set up at the police station area. I like this decision making. It is going to be a bit of a slow go for those who have managed to make it off the main island without too much issue. But right now, looking at the whole picture, we will see that the transition will have started for many teams. FaZe appearing to take a boat off the coast as well. So just looking at the rest of the transitions, how we're shaking out for teams like TSM and everyone at the north end of the map, we'll have to see how they're going to either swim or try and drive across or get to a coastal area to get through. So we'll get an overview shot there shortly.
Last few teams transition in. Yeah, it's a pretty slow early game. With it being a military based circle, everyone's going to be transitioning, and so when you see oftentimes when you see early game fights, that's when there's a team that's basically looted up where the zone is in a position that they want to keep, and they're just defending their spot from people trying to attack them. But when 90% of the teams in the lobby are having to transition to it, it's not going to be that many fights. Broder taking some ambitious shots, but I don't expect any of those to land.
No, shooting from the boats is very difficult, and just on the best of days, standing still is difficult. We see Dynamic Company getting in, so we'll have LFO taking another decent compound at the coast here. Now, for those who are behind, if you were given the option, are you swimming or are you trying to find a vehicle?
Yeah, that's a difficult decision.
Because right now we see no northern coastal compounds being held just yet. We see teams United in North America is very good at holding those beach compounds and just making it difficult for those to get across in these military circles. And I'm surprised to see most individuals, at least in this particular case, taking inland compounds around the military base proper, rather than trying to hold a choke point, which would allow them to kind of gatekeep those getting across. So the low ground compound we see right next to FCE is a decent hold, but mostly where Wick and company are set up would be good as well. But for now, it's going to be Pokes as a method holding most vision on this side of the map in their little perch atop this mountain.
Yeah, it seems that a lot of teams are favoring the western side, which makes sense. I actually agree with it. It's a little more central than the eastern side. But it's also the fact that transitions around this area are a little easier, and especially with Method's spot, there's a lot of information to be gained from this particular area, which is why I really like the fact that they were able to go to this spot. 8C throwing some shots out into some passing vehicles on the FCE. It lands a couple. Missy down a little low. If he goes by another compound, he could be at risk of having an early exit, but it seems that he's going to be making it safe because him and a teammate, multiple teammates, have been able to steal a compound for themselves. Pretty big compound, not taken so far. If the zone continues on this position, it could be really strong, but again, because it's closer towards the edge, it's obviously not as prioritized amongst other teams.
Well, we will see that first transition here very shortly. So as FCE and the compounds become fewer and fewer, you see them taking up another one here along the southern coast. This first shrink is going to determine what the rest of the team seem to be doing. TSM, I believe, is still in the blue right now. So that'll be a fairly centered shrink. So Novo will be coming out, TSM on the way down. It looks like we're going to have Rari in the game here. So Break, Rari, APR, and Vis are here. Yeah. And we will see another bit of a transition here. But for the most part, considering how much space is between these teams, we should see a little bit more of a standard issue second phase where everyone's just kind of poking at each other and settling into their new compounds.
Yeah, and I like how the circle's been treating us so far. It's been a comfortable military base circle just because the first one was close. Oh, looks like a member of Zokti Nam actually gets taken out. Did these guys change their name?
Maybe. On the spreadsheet it's the same, so I'm sticking with that. So
no, they were looking for a new roster, and I was trying to think of a way to make a joke about how I only just now learned to pronounce this one. So, okay.
Hopefully, I'm used to it now as well. I'm used to butchering their name, so obviously that it's become comfortable.
And name.
Yeah,
got it.
Perfect.
Nailed it.
Got it. So that was actually LFO holding them out. Zoktin, Nam also trying to swim across. We'll see if they can get in Blade Cedo now, having to retreat. Meanwhile, Method on the top of this perch that they've held so far, looking through the trees, not a ton of line of sight directly onto LFO, but they have heard the shots and are investigating is Leighton. So very suspicious, moving around. Doesn't want to come too far down this hill, give any additional sight lines, but Method in a good spot for now. And we'll be through this next phase.
This is actually really bad for Zokti Nam right now because that's a wide field that they have to cross. The two players, one of which was already taken out, but along with Broder, were there on the coastline to help usher in the two others who are continuing to swim across. They don't have any vehicles. They came in via boat and then just their good old flapping arms and legs. So having to cross through and being gatekept like that so heavily on the edge is going to be real brutal for them. TSM right now parking right inside the zone, able to get some heals off if they need it before they continue their transition through. Actually,
so
they're not the last ones in. TSM. All right.
Yeah, there's TSM is transitioning now, but they did just pass by another team sitting there. It looks like FaZe engaging here, taking a few shots up at the Knights, finishing off Survivor as they are pushed. Like, this is the one thing I love about watching FaZe, is that everything that they do, they're doing as a unit. Like they're crossing in like a perfect square. Like they're so organized, and they have this ability to just be decisive in their fights. And they're really allowing in their movement no room for error, because if they all have to stop and turn, they're stopping and turning as four, and that's something that FaZe executes so well. So picking up an early kill on their transition through the bunkers here. So far, so good. No need to use utility even. So that's a bit of a lucky break that they don't have more eyeballs on them, but they are going to make it into the base proper. I don't imagine that they're going to well, they might stop in this bunker and kind of hold up on this hill, which we see teams do all the time, but factory is still open as well.
But you can't also ignore the fact that they dealt a lot of damage to the Knights even to be able to cross. That's such a dangerous cross no matter how early or late into the game it is. But we saw they even got a full kill and then took off a helmet of another player. So they landed those long-range shots to make that cross, and that just shows the multiple facets of how good FaZe is. Haxede in the distance you saw, it took a little bit of damage from somewhere, but now Drayden right now also taking a couple of shots from across the way. That's actually coming from the middle of... Yeah, so that's the rest of FaZe. They left Haxede behind. Don't know if that was because he was taking those shots or if they wanted to leave him on an alternate angle. But Jempty landing another shot on a Vox. They're doing heavy damage to Knights right now.
Every time that the Knights peek to try and take shots at Hax or whoever, they are immediately punished by Jempty. Like, Jempty has one of the best shots in the game and is one of the best overall fraggers in the game. And again, no utility being used here whatsoever. Just the fact that Jempty is able to put that amount of pressure onto Voxec, knocking his helmet and taking him down, allows Hax to rejoin his team without issue. So the power of FaZe to prevent any level of pressure while returning fire almost immediately at all times really allows them a lot of flexibility and movement as they're now coming against Vitality, who's sharing the military base with them. And we are going to see the third FaZe center mostly in the base. But we will see now Penta, Knights, TSM, and the late breaking Gustav and company have to get into the zone on the east, and Method and company having to come in on the west.
Fight breaking out right now. You don't want to come across Method. Multiple frags for them. Leighton getting a full-on kill. Brandon also gets taken down. AC gets taken down in return. So not without their own casualties, but a really good spread by Method. Turtle and AC both on the side. A couple of frags, and all the way to the final kill. Yeah, they are. They do. Two of their players are down and out, but they also took out the entirety. I believe that was LFO.
Yeah, a 2-for-4 trade where they don't actually lose anybody is the best possible scenario in a team fight. Looks like the troubles for Method, or at least the pressure for Method, is not going to stop FCE jockeying around the fence here. And now FaZe staying active, putting pressure onto Vitality through the military base. They are being very aggressive here. They've heard the shots of Vitality in the barrels and are now putting pressure on them. Vitality actually having to deal with a transitioning FCE as well. So now Vitality in a bit of a pinch between FaZe and FCE. Nade coming out now. That looks like it might land a little true. Right next to ours, I think. Haven't seen the explosion yet. No, not yet. But it looks like now FaZe engaging with FCE. Vitality in turn returning nades. Here come the pressure in turn. And now it looks like that second nade might do some more damage. But right now it's Tuho Juho resing Digger, so it's going to be an interesting transition here. The Knights, everyone active. Dab landing right in front of Drayden, and he will take him out.
Yeah, actually doing a lot of damage. Drayden is for the Knights, so they are returning to fire. Even though they lost their player early, they took a lot of damage from FaZe. They actually make the full loop around to the south side, preferring this area of this current zone and dealing some damage from this position. Method as well, also doing a lot of damage. Broder's the only one left from his team. So Nam
Method has him held outside the zone essentially. So with the close coming, Bruder's gonna have to decide, am I gonna just run into Method? That he's got no other options really. He's stuck in a place where he has to leave or die to the zone, and Method has the ability to just back it off a little bit and get into the zone up on top of that hill. So no immediate imperative to sorry, it's not imperative for them to move as Bruder returns fire, hitting some shots on Turtle. Andy holding the wide peak, looking for a shot there. Bruder taking more damage, so it's going to be a bit of a tough transition here for Bruder, as now the circle is becoming a factor as well.
Yeah, now it's at his back. He's kind of running a little forward. You can see the power of the 8X on the M4, but there's really not much more that he can do at this point. He gets a drop, and that's good, and he's hoping that that'll allow him to continue pushing him, but the blue may be just too far ahead, and, well, Method, they didn't take any casualties, so they have more than enough eyes that they can send on this guy while still getting the revive on their teammates. So, Broder, I'm sorry, my dude, but I don't think I can expect too much.
It's likely going to be it. We've seen FaZe now move all the way into the center, headed to the jail building, a popular drop in public games, the first jail building, just at the base of the radio tower. So they're going to be operating in that area near satellite. Vitality still in the barrels. So it's just a matter now of Vitality engaging with FaZe just to determine who's going to have the better gear, because these pokes through the barrels are not going to lead to too many pushes. I don't know if that full push would come out necessarily at this point.
Yeah, that'd
But
be
Jamty
ambitious.
just plinking, yeah, he's just plinking away with that Car 98, doing damage to armor and helmets, etc. So we'll see how that works out for Vitality here. Now that we've seen another shrink staying relatively centered.
It's a little south, though, which takes out a lot of the full buildings of the military base and puts them more on the upper edge. And so this means that there's a likely chance that the ending circles are going to not have any, like, full compounds. Just going to have a lot of the chest-high full cover, like with the barrels and the planes, which is going to be interesting to see played around because we don't often see areas end in this game. TSM right now able to make their way to the edge without taking 80 casualties, which is kind of that's kind of their style. That's kind of their thing. Shouldn't really be unexpected to them. But, oh, this is another ambitious run by Penta trying to make their way through that gap in the fence. Slowed down the momentum a little bit, and they could be taking a lot of shots because of this, but it looks like the cover is enough. And they're all able to stay alive. And actually bringing vehicles into this deep into the military base is going to be strong as well, because this is more movable cover for them to have. They have 4 vehicles.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's going to last. I do like the idea. The execution worked out for them driving in this stage of the game. In this particular area, should be okay considering how much natural cover and building cover is around them. But we see Vis and company with TSM setting up a similar situation out in the plains. So these planes provide decent line of sight and decent cover, and using those vehicles in conjunction with that will give you the best possible cover you can find if you're going to set it up yourself. Penta, however, is set up near the center of the zone with their vehicle, so they do have some flexibility. And Method looks like they're going to be crashing right across from Alliance. Alliance not able to land anything initially, just doing a little bit of damage to the vehicles. Leighton was taken low, him already being knocked once. Ooh. And he will be knocked again as Chronex from somewhere else has a sight line on him, just actually down by the garage building to the north. And now it's going to be Alliance and a little bit of Method here, battling with Breaksco and company from Exalt, putting pressure on them from elsewhere.
Yeah, we saw them take this building from the very beginning. They've been just able to chill out here this whole time, trying to do... Oh, they're actually dealing some really good damage to Method. Can he land the final... Oh, one more! One more, he can do it!
Looks like Method is in trouble here. They have pressure on 2 fronts.
Yeah.
Trying to finish the res. I think they might have been able to get it. I don't see him up yet. Looks like Turtle is going to come up. So they did lose Leighton. Leighton went down, but they do have the res back. Actually, as I say that, Chronex knocks Turtle again. So just trying to find a line of sight here that is not going to be shot. And Turtle is continuing to take damage 1 tick at a time. Will they be able to get the res? Chronex plinking away. 1 hit lands again. Another. Not sure if they're going to have to abandon this. Turtle does go up, and another down. So he will have gotten around the corner. So Turtle just trying to get inside. So this res should be able to stick as long as they can get it without any more damage. Alliance still nearby. The smoke comes out. Turtle will be rezzed for the 3rd consecutive time. Next one is going to be very difficult if he goes down again.
And nonetheless, you still have to wonder, even once they're able to stabilize right now, how are they going to get into the next zone? Because they're going to be, like, they're out of vehicles, out of a lot of health and utility. Looking over here, though, we do have Noxious in a little bit of a fight. Tuna Can did get dropped, we saw recently, and he's outside in the blue, and so there's no res going to be happening for them. They're going to have to continue in with just 2 of them. They barely have cover in this zone.
No, that upper... That I like the positioning, but that powerful spot with the divot has come out, so they are just on the edge of that formerly good spot. So they're going to have to decide now how they want to rotate through this next phase as Alliance repositioning or putting pressure onto the Knights. The Knights getting picked apart here, 1 team at a time. Every time they come across someone, they seem to take even more damage and a casualty. Oh. As we see here, Drayden down at the fence. It looks like Krema is trying to put some pressure back, but he's not gonna be able to do it, and he's not gonna be able to save Drayden. VZ in the background did go down and out, so Alliance has lost 1 as well. That nade is trying to... Oh, did they do? Oh, so yeah, so Alliance taking some casualties. Just trying to get into the plains cam as we see a northern shift in this next zone. Gonna stay on the base.
Oh, can Shiv get the final? He does. He gets another shot at Kramer, and so I think Knights only have 1 standing member left, and only 1 member to continue out the game with, because that full kill did come through. Voxic, though, from the Knights was able to make his way into the zone, has a tiny little corner. I can't expect too much from him, though, looking at how his transition is going to have to continue after this.
We are going to see a vehicle. Yeah, it looks, yeah, we're going to see a vehicle transition here as Exalt. All these teams on the western side are going to use vehicles, or at least try to use vehicles to get across, as we see Rogue now engaging, taking down Cup of Magic. And it looks like Method might be able to sneak through while Exalt is taking most of the fire. And there they go. Simsy will finish it off, picking up a double there. Breaksco and the rest of Exalt being eliminated. No, Gustav is still there, having to break all the way around to get through. Rogue now transitioning, as well as Method, headed right into the remnants of Alliance. So we'll see here how Method, Turtle, having been down 3 times already, Andy a little bit behind with AC leading the charge. We'll see if they can get anything going here, as Rogue's taking casualties as well. And this is a very tough transition for these Western teams.
Yeah, just because that open field leading into kind of like a moat around the military base. We see kills happening back and forth. Vitality, Shiv especially. I'm seeing him line up the leaderboard consistently, but also seeing a couple. Luxo just got a drop, I think. And now Method, surprisingly, actually able to bomb their way in. Eyes are suddenly off this position. We saw Knights and Penta take Alliance, sorry, take a lot of casualties from this position, just because everyone could see it. But oh, now 60 stands up, gets a drop on the 8C. Don't know if it's going to be answered back immediately by the 2 remaining players of Method. He does have a crossfire with another teammate.
He didn't finish it in time, and it looks like Lux stole his kill. So that's another pickup for Method. That's a big Hail Mary nade. They're going to land a little bit short, just short of Sigsy there. So now it's going to be Andy taking damage. I believe he already has been, he's been taken out. So Sigsy finishing that off. So now it's going to be, I think, Method eliminated here. So Method is out of this game. Knights still holding on to the edge of the zone. But for now, FaZe is full strength and have been taking shots onto Vitality. So Vitality is still full strength, but have gone down a few times here. TSM full strength as well. So we will see some full strength teams headed here into the beginning of this end game. And we'll see how TSM reacts, having been mostly quiet through the mid game, now forced to move in to a territory including FaZe and Vitality.
Yeah, I actually like that from Vitality. You saw earlier on the mini-map, they were in the previous zone, they're a little more spread out, but now in this next zone pop, they then kind of grouped up together to take more specific control of a particular area, which would be the northern edge. They know there's going to be a couple of teams coming up from there. They definitely know that FaZe are in the building that they're in, and it's safe to assume there'll be a couple other teams. And so they're using these barrels, which are a nice place to play around if you can land your shots. It's not the best, most hard cover, but it allows you good maneuverability around the area as well. And so they could actually be a really big bane to any team trying to come from the north side. And actually TSM, whether or not they recognize that, they're taking a more eastern path through along the edge of the blue. Still have running UAZs just barely, and they'll be able to bomb.
Yeah, they're gonna push. They're gonna push this gap right into the remaining number of Knights. Who's actually he's stuck. He's inside the jet engine. That is the narrowest of cover. Like that, yeah. He can't. He's already taking damage. He actually can't come out because it's doing too much. So he's having to med. Sneaking out now. TSM has got no idea he's there. He will get in. TSM is about to have a nightmare situation unfold right in front of them. Rari, if he just turns a little bit to the right, he would see him, but he hasn't yet. Oh, surprise! Vis probably had a little bit of a lump in his throat there, yeah, but right. Absolutely able to take care of that. So TSM pushing that gap, landing themselves some nice cover with their vehicles on the southern end of the zone, but now it's going to be FaZe clearing out behind them and then having to push into Vitality. Looks like they might have taken a casualty or landed a kill here already. Yeah, they did lose someone here already. I didn't see on the nameplates who it was, but regardless, as Mickey and a few of these guys are going to have to get the open here. Vexed Gaming versus FaZe. Here we go.
Ooh, don't know if he spotted that nade coming out, but he definitely heard it. Mixie jumping down the corner. Blue's coming in now. It's going to take a couple of damage, but he doesn't want to cross that path just yet because he knows it's probably going to get watched, but the smoke's actually going to help him out as well. Crawling through. He's taking a lot of damage from the blue while trying to be the back line.
It's Vitality. Yeah, Vitality's got them held in as well. So Vitality now, I was hoping to see a little bit of an earlier movement from FaZe onto Vitality, but Vexed being there as well prevented that from happening.
Yeah.
So now it's FaZe all of a sudden going down to only 1. And Hacks will take down I'm Larry there. And now it's just a bunch of trades as all of these zone teams are just picking apart those who are a little bit late. So now all of a sudden it's Razmiki by himself. So Vex goes from full strength to only one remaining very quickly. FaZe does still stay 2 up and get the zone here. So now it's going to be an interesting transition. We have Alliance versus TSM here, Cam.
I don't know if TSM know that Alliance are there because we saw them bomb in with the vehicles. They may not be hearing Alliance if Alliance haven't been making too much noise, but Alliance definitely know that they're there. And so if TSM, if they don't clear their backside before they make their own way into the zone, which is going to be a rough transition as it is, could be taking a lot of damage from Alliance.
Alliance not in great shape. They looks. I don't think that Fever has armor on. Level 1 helmets shared there. So now Hax and Jempty, high level players. Well, they're all high level, but as far as you know, Jempty being alive is a big boon for FaZe right now, as we see Penta running out of options. The vehicle cover no longer viable. They're receiving pressure from across with the Vitality. I'm not sure if TSM's got them lined up yet, but Vitality is in the zone, split out with FaZe, and right now it's a hope essentially that these border teams damage each other on the way into the zone and allow the flexibility for Vitality and FaZe to deal with each other. As it's now time to move, the circle is ongoing.
Yeah, TSM using their vehicles, but they could be taking a lot of damage in this. It's really good that they only have 1 per, because some of these vehicles are going to go up in flames. We're already actually taking a lot of damage from the blue as well. And this is a weird vehicle show, but oh, wow. This actually pops out of the vehicle and gets a spray down onto Araxi.
He does land the kill. He has secured himself inside the zone. APR Marius there as well. So I believe they did lose 2 immediately.
Yeah.
As Vis will go down. That nade being informed there, landing right next to him by Jempty. Monkey going down, trading, and Marius will be eliminated. So TSM will go out in 4th place. Vitality holding on to 3 members here, but FaZe being an absolute gatekeeper right now, shooting it and finishing Alliance. So FaZe will take at minimum a 2nd place in game number 1 here with some decent kills coming out. Jempty landing 2, Axe with 3. Didn't see the total on the team just yet, but pops out and just destroys Shiv. Another shot landing onto Monkey. So Vitality versus FaZe. I think we've said this a few times in the last couple of weeks. We're in for some high power action here, Cam.
Yeah, this is great. And Jem to get that first frag is going to allow his teammate to push forward. Hexay takes a couple of shots, but now is crouching able to find the rest of the barrels. Second shot misses once again onto Monkey, and good for Monkey because he has no helmet.
Securing that circle. What they've done here is they've put Hacks at the center, or at the forward position on the circle, allowing them to basically zone Vitality out. They have no room to maneuver. They will not be able to get into the zone without taking a 1-to-1 or trade situation with Hacks with Jempty in tow. So Jempty playing the backup right now. Hacks holding the angles of approach. He hasn't heard footsteps yet. We haven't seen any utility come out from Vitality. I'm expecting some smoke grenades here to aid them across. I'm not sure if they have any left, but they do have the meds to support this. Here come the smokes. The smoke will come out now, putting some pressure on the sight lines of Hax's right side. So we'll see if they're going to fake left or go left. But that smoke is going to provide some level of cover. Jempty now pressing out to look at that sight line, shooting into the smoke, seeing if he can land anything, and he will go right, going away from the smoke. So this is going to be a bit of a fake maneuver here from Shadow. Shadow looking for any level of sight onto Hax. Nothing yet. Only a few options to look at. Cam, this is going to be intense.
Yeah, and actually Shadow here, that was safe enough for his teammate to come up from behind him, but Hexay does get an angle. He may have seen a corner. He's definitely hearing the shot, so he knows that they're close, but they're only just barely on the side. Hexay takes a little bit of damage, wants to bandage, and Jempty lands another shot onto Shadow. That means Monkey left. Monkey wants to push out and gets a kill onto Hexay. Sees the head, but can't quite land the shot in the sliver of pixels available to him. And say he's going to run back and try and get a revive on his teammate to make it back up for a 2-on-2.
With the pressure now gone, Jempty knows that the res is coming, and Hax is spreading out, looking for anything here. They might be able to get the res, but Jempty's right on top of them. Split push coming. Jempty goes down. Shadow in the zone and unable to hold on to it. And an intense 2v2 ends with FaZe taking game number 1 in very dominating fashion, picking up a good amount of kills, but that was a very intense final 2. Vitality picking up 2nd place. Cam, do you go for the res there, or do you just try and clutch that?
Oh, it's a really hard decision to make. It looked like he wanted to go for the clutch for a first couple of like milliseconds, But FaZe were really good, and once they got that frag, they both hid for a couple of moments, which then pushed them back to try and get the res. And then it just becomes a decision on, do I fake the res? Because you saw Hexete, he was a little slow on his peak on the left side while Jempty was coming along the right, because he was waiting just in case. He didn't want to do the full rush just in case it was a fake res. There's no one real answer to play. You have to just go off of game sense and even just trying to outsmart the person you're particularly playing against, because at this point they knew they were up against each other. But FaZe going first, Vitality getting second, you can't really wish for anything less than that. Alliance with a good third, TSM in fourth, and then Penta actually able to sneak their way into fifth. And I say sneak, but they are actually getting a good number of kills that we weren't paying too much attention to, so really good job for particularly all these top fives. That is, unless you have any final words, is going to be it for us.
No, I'll save my thoughts for the loot phase in game number 2.
All right, actually perfect planning. Well, that is going to be it for us right now. We're going to go to another break while we set up game number 2. It is 4 games today in EU, so we do have a lot more PUBG action coming right up. Don't go anywhere.